Let me say something that might even make you feel a little uncomfortable, but I want you to understand it clearly. Your book isn't failing, but it might be floating. And when something floats without direction, it's just kind of lost in space, it doesn't create momentum. It has no real motion. There's no gravity pulling on it, and it's not creating its own gravity to pull others to it. It's just drifting. And today, we want to stop the drift and really help you focus in on what it's going to take to have the motion, the momentum, and the maximum impact that you are meant for today. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years in business, the last 59 years that I've spent alive on this earth, being literally born into media, visible and valuable, and here making the difference for you today so that you can show up in the world and be the difference that you're meant to make in this world. I've had the amazingly wonderful privilege of working with, more than 5,000 authors at this point, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, everything that comes beyond that. We're talking about doctors, lawyers, nurses, multi-billionaires, startup companies, stay-at-home moms. Whether you're talking about Fortune 50 companies or you're talking about companies that are privately held and nobody knows what kind of categorization they might have, or you're talking about companies that are intentionally small, or even sometimes companies that are just at that beginning stage. They will be bigger, they are getting bigger, but right now they're in the process of growing. And that's okay too, because at the end of the day, uh, it's important for you to be able to really know what to do. Not guess, hope, want, wish, pray, think, dream about it, but to have that, what I referred to in the opening, that gravity, that momentum that creates real, true motion, that gravity that draws people to you. It keeps, I mean, let's think about gravity for a second, okay? Gravity, keeps us all stuck to the planet so we don't just float out in outer space. But gravity is also what keeps the planets aligned and rotating. Our planet has its own gravity. We're also stuck in the gravity well of the sun that we rotate around as a planet. There are also, though, the gravities of the other planets, and they have impact on each of the other planets. So much so that even when you talk about something small like our moon here, it has an impact. We can see the effect of the gravity of the moon, even though it's much less than the gravity our particular planet has. We can see the effects every day at the rising and the falling of the tides. And when the moon is full, there is a different gravitational effect on us than, when there's only part of the moon that's visible and the rest of it's, blocked out. When the moon eclipses the sun, there's a different feel. I don't know if, last year when we had that eclipse, I don't know if you were in part of the area. We had, I think they wanted to say, I think they called it like 85% eclipsed is where I was here in central Kansas. It was really interesting because, it was a bright, sunny, beautiful day. And then it started acting like night was falling, like falling but quicker. Okay. That kind of, what do you want to call it, grayish feel that happens, right? You know what I'm talking about. And it got really interestingly but subtly darker, not as dark as if we had had a full eclipse like they did down in places in Texas and across a whole swatch of where it went. I was a little bit north of that. But there was also that energetic impact, that sense of the, if you will, mild blocking of the gravity of the sun. And also, though, the alignment of the combined gravities of sun and moon being in line. It was a very cool kind of experience. And your alignment with being who you are and what you do in this world for the person. I'm going to be talking a lot about this over the course of the next week. I'm gearing up. Next Saturday, I'm going to do something really different. So not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow, I'm going to do something really different. I'm going to go live with my signature talk, the one that I'm going to give at the Art Expansion event in Provo, Utah. Hey, Jake, glad to have you here with us. And if you'd like to be there live, Art of Expansion 3-day event, March 12th, 13th, and 14th, I have free tickets. I can get you a free ticket to join me live in Provo, Utah in March. All you got to do, I mean, if you're local, you can drive from home. If you want to fly in, we're staying at the Marriott. And we'd love to have you there too. Either way, I'd love to have you live at the event. But I know there's a lot of you that are at different places in the world and got different things going on and those kind of things. And so if you want a ticket, just comment, say, hey, Steve, I'd love to get one of those tickets. Love to do that for you. But either way, next Saturday, I'm going to give live that whole presentation to you. It's going to be longer, it's like 45 minutes, so we'll have a little bit of longer time. Hey, Kayla, glad to have you here with us today. But in the meantime, I want to spend this week talking to you about the real truth behind your visibility, your momentum, and the things that have you in an unfortunately drifting space rather than in a gravitational pull space. Hey, Kayla, it's so important that we understand we got this idea, okay? And maybe it's something you've taught for years and years. Maybe it's this just cool idea. I have this whole book series that I wrote that I just started into it, and every day I was telling a little bit more of the story. And I was actually sharing it with a friend as I was telling the story. And it also, gosh, thanks. It also was incentivizing because that person each day was like, oh, do you have more of the book? And if I didn't, I was like, feeling the pressure of it the couple of times that I missed, and so it's a really great way to write a book, especially when you're talking about writing fiction, stories, to have somebody that you're telling the story to, and having them, giving them, say, for example, a chapter of that story each day. Depending on how long your chapters are, that's 15 to 30 minutes of them reading. And depending on how you're sending that to them, you're probably going to send it a couple of pages at a time, so they read a little bit and then they're like, oh, I'm ready for more, It's a really great incentivizing way to, both connect your friendship, but also to really encourage you to write the story. The same thing's true, really, though, when you look at nonfiction. It's a great way to do it. There's an old phrase that talks about building the plane while it's in flight. Sell the program and then build the program as soon as you have even one person that wants that program, right? And a lot of us need to just do that. We need to just simply show up. We need to just simply say, who wants XYZ? Get one person to raise their hand and say, yes, I want it. In some cases, if you've never done this before, you've never sold it, then give it away. I am going to do XYZ for free. That's why I'm spending a lot of time today talking about how a week from tomorrow, I'm going to give away for free that same signature talk right here live in front of you. And I'd love to have all of you join us, and we'll be talking about all week long how you can do that. But, at my noon time, Central Time, next Saturday, I'll be doing that live. Okay. Um, you know, it's all about that creating that space, creating that gravity, having that pull, that draw, that thing, not to everybody. Okay, we tend to start thinking about our attraction. You know, Willie and I wrote the book Magnetize Media about our magnetizing people to us. And we want to think in terms of everybody. Okay. You know, and I fall into that trap, you know, because I help people become bestsellers and those kind of things. And it's real easy. Um, yeah. So, um, here today it's Friday, February the 20th. So that would be, gosh, let me just bring up a calendar for you, Jake, so you know exactly what we're talking about, because I know some of us are on different time spans. So that would be next Saturday. It'll be the 28th for me. So in your case, that would be March the 1st, actually, for you. Okay. Want to make sure that that's clear for you. Um, you know, but it's so important that we understand that we don't need everybody. I love how Seth Godin said it. He said, better to have 100 raving fans than 10,000 people who could care less. The world has us believing that we need to have multiple millions of people that are virally watching our stuff. Um, you know, and what you really need really is one. You need one person that's bought in, that's going to pay you, you know, that would really, I mean, if, and that's going to grow to 2 and then 10 and then 100 and those kind of things. But you really want, whether you're putting out a $1 product or $100,000 product, you know, and that understand means knowing that person, but you really want them to, every time you put out something, they're going to buy it, you know, kind of like back when you're a kid, you know, and you were doing a fundraiser, you always knew that if if nothing else, you were going to sell one to your mom, right? You know, I mean, I know there's a few exceptions of people like not me, but you know, I mean, for the most part, you knew that whether you were the top salesperson in your class or you were always the kid who, you know, sold next to nothing, you knew that your mom was going to come, you know, she was going to come in for you, you know, she was going to buy the things, right? Always the way, right? That's the same thing with our following, with our audience, with the gravity, with the motion that we're in, is we want to talk about and know who is that person? Who specifically am I speaking to? And then we want to know specifically what do they need and how can I help them? And by being specific on who that is and what they need and what can you do to help them, you can then talk very specifically to that specific person. Just like I can say right now to Kayla, I'm very sorry that this may seem confusing or that it's like, what the heck am I talking about? Because I want it to be really clear that when you're talking specifically to that person that you're meant to serve and you're using specific things, it's going to resonate with them. And for the person who it's not for the person who, you know, isn't wanting to attract people to them, in both of those cases, that's where that drifting happens. That's where you're not drawing anybody to you because of the fact that you're not speaking specifically to one person and you're not saying specifically the things that they need and giving them solutions for the things that it's you know, is a problem for them. Yes, today it's Friday, February the 20th. Jake said that where he is, it's February the 21st. So, you know, again, for the thing we're going to do next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, which is the 28th here in the US. And if you happen to already, you know, if you live enough hours ahead of me, that it's already the 21st where you are, it'll be actually March the 1st next week. Okay. Um, does that make sense? So I want you to understand. I want you to be really clear on the fact that it's very easy to feel like you're adrift, like you're just kind of out there floating around, getting things done, but not really attracting anybody and not really solid on the ground on anything. Sometimes you write that really powerful, amazing book. You love it. Every time you read it, it makes you cry. You're like, oh man, I can't believe this came out of me. But instead of it feeling like the driving force for all you're doing in the world, feels like it's just kind of out there, quiet, not doing anything. I want you to know this doesn't mean you've failed. It just means that it's time to give it direction, time to create the gravity and the focus and know exactly what it takes for the person you're wanting to talk to help make the difference in their life. And when we do, that makes all the difference. If you need help with that, you absolutely can drop the link to your book down in the comments or send me a DM with the link to your book, and I will gladly take a look at your book. And I can help you see the places where your book is adrift and how you can help focus it in on, where it should be and really get it going in a direction towards the person that it needs to be to attract them to you as you head towards them. That's very powerful. Let's give your book direction today. Let's give everything that you do in this world clarity, consistency to allow you to connect with the people that you're meant to serve. Again, drop me the link. I'd be glad to make the comments on it. I hope that you know I'm here for you. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved, even though it's gotten cold here again. And I hope that until we're together again next time, which of course will be tomorrow, I hope that you have an amazingly, amazingly great week.